Hello everybody and welcome to RDTV. My name is Paul Jeffrey and today is a day that I've been looking forward to bringing to you for a very long time. I have been very fortunate to get hold of the version 1.6 Assetto Corsa Competizione update early in advance of release to the general public. Now, what does this mean? It means I have the brand new build for ACC, I've got the Imola circuit that is a new DLC edition and the 2020 GT World Challenge cars. And in this video, we're going to give you a little idea of what's new and what's exciting about this latest build and share with you our impressions of the new track and of course the new tyre model that brings with it significant changes to the way the cars behave. Now, what is in this new update, I hear you ask? Well, first and foremost, there have been some significant changes to the way the AI behaves alongside the player. Lead developer from Kunos, Stefano Casilio, has rejoined the organisation in a consultancy basis to bring some AI changes to the simulation. What this means, there's a new AI driving error algorithm, improved algorithms for racecraft and attack, and reworked throttle lift in lower skill opponents when global AI skill setting is set to 90 or higher. We've got some increased sensitivity for the way the blue flags are triggered with the Gt3, Gt4 multi-class racing, some random weather setting changes, various fixes to the simulation, and of course the brand new Pirelli DHE tyre model. In reality, this means we've got a much more engrossing and engaging offline driving experience when racing against the computer, and for the tyre model, we've basically got the rulebook. We've torn it up and we've thrown it away for this new build because the cars are significantly different. And I'm going to get onto the circuit now and tell you if I think that's difference for the better or for the worse. So let's try out the AMG Mercedes at Imola and share our impressions of this new build, these new cars and these new round tyres. Right then, circuit time. So we're in the 2020 AMG Mercedes at the brand new Imola Grand Prix circuit, just about to start a quick 10-lap race. We're 9th on the grid, just dragging the brakes a little bit to get some heat into the tyres and brakes for the rundown into the Tamburello chicane. Couple of Audis around me at the moment, so it's an all-German affair here on row 5, as we're hopefully going to make a very solid start on this new car and new track. Visually, one of the first things you will notice that are different about the 2020 cars and tracks is that nice little display on the dashboard that tells me the flag status of the circuit. I've not driven all of the cars from the 2020 GT World Challenge pack yet, so I can't testify if they're all there, but I do believe they pretty much are. It's something new for this season and it's a nice little touch actually. I like it, it's really good, quick and easy and helpful to know exactly what the flag status is like at any given moment in time out on the track. So a new for 2020 regulation, looks very nice indeed. Now, as I said at the top of the show, the 1.6 update comes out with these 2020 GT World Challenge Championship cars, oh, nearly, and the Imola track as DLCs, and they contain all the cars, teams and drivers of the 2020 GT World Challenge Series, including the total 24 hours of Spa, as that Audi gets it well out of shape. As I showed my nose at the inside, that gives us an opportunity now, possibly. Blocking the line, not really leaving me any room, a little bit of a kiss just to let him know I'm there, dive up the inside on the brakes, try and get it down in a second, keep it nice and tight, which we do, give him some racing room so he stays on our outside. Lovely jubbly. That's P8 I think now. So yeah, the game, Kunos, up to the last couple of few months or so, have released a number of bonus liveries for Assetto Corsa Competizione over the months. Now, anything from the 2020 season has been moved out of the original content and into this new pack, so it is the full collection of liveries, plenty of cars, teams and drivers to choose from. There are a few brands that are missing, this year in the real series, so that's been replicated as well in here. So of course no Nissan, none of the old Jaguar, the beautiful Jaguar as well. And in terms of new models, we've got the new 2020 AMG Mercedes, which I'm driving now, and the Ferrari 488 Gt3 Evo 2020 as well, which are both brand new cars into the sim, and both very, very nice indeed. I don't have much experience in the Mercedes AMG from the 2009 or 19 or 18 seasons, so it is a bit of a new car to me, but I can say I'm thoroughly enjoying the car in this run and in the live stream event as well. So by the time you watch this video, the live stream event will have taken place, where I'm racing against a bunch of YouTubers, Kunos devs, and some real-world GT3 drivers as well. So that's the world premiere of the new pack. If you missed that first time out, it'll definitely be on the Race Department Twitch channel, where we're broadcasting it live, but I'll try and find a way to port it to YouTube as well, so do check that out. I'm sure it's going to be an entertaining couple of races. Now, in terms of the update itself, 1.6, the 2020 cars bring the new Pirelli DHE tyres, which are a different dimension, different compound, different construction, and generally speaking, from what I understand, are highly regarded by the World Challenge drivers to give you a little bit more wiggle room to lean on them and get the most out of tyres. This has been replicated in the 2020 car pack, the 2019 and 18 and the Intercontinental GT Challenge stay as they were, but there has been some tyre logic changes as Kunos get more data, learn more about the tyre model itself, so there are improvements across the board even to the old content. But specifically what we're talking about today is the new content, and I've got to say these tyres are absolutely incredible. The force feedback difference it gives you, the feel, the extra information, the grip of the tyres flexing under load, giving up grip or bringing it back again depending on what you do with the car is just fabulous. You can modulate the throttle and the brake and manipulate it so much more than you could before to get the car to do things you just couldn't do previously. I really like the force feedback in ACC, always have done, but I must say on reflection, looking back at it now, I could feel when I'd got to the edge of grip, and that put me, gone past the edge of grip, and that would put me into an incident that I could recover because of the information the tyres were telling me. But now I can feel the build up to that edge of grip, so I can really get the car, or if I was better a driver I could, get the car up to the limit of where it's about to cry enough. So much clearer, so much crisper and cleaner than I could do before, which is, for a simpleton driver like me, opens up your confidence and gives you an opportunity to do more with a race car, and I dare say the really good drivers can massively exploit that to get better lap times. So really, really powerful tyre improvement is the DHE tyres from Pirelli, and it makes a massive difference to the force feedback as well. So now I've got so much more feeling in the car, it feels so much more alive and on its tiptoes, but still remaining planted and the comfortable, safe environment that a GT3 car instills in the driver as well. It is poetry in motion. It is absolutely exceptional what Kunos have done. See there, as I felt the weight transfer to the rear of the car, catch it on the opposite lock, and you can feel that happening. Rather than reacting post to it, you're reacting pre to the incident. You know that's going to happen before it happens, and then you can do a little bit of something about it. So I've got a good run out of the chicane for the first time ever on this Merc. Outside's not the wisest place to be, but that will become the inside for the next corner. Give him enough room, keep to the inside, way too late on the brakes, lock up, and that is poor, Mr. Jeffrey. That is poor, but we only lost one position and a little bit of real estate, so we will live to fight another day. So I really, really like the new tyre model. I think they've done an exceptional job with that one. The improvements on the original content as well, a bit more subtle than they are on the 2020 cars, because in effect the tyre model was already very, very good. They've just put some new learnings and some tweaks on there, but again, that's a welcome addition. And for anybody out there thinking, I don't want the 2020 pack, it's the same cars, just new liveries, why bother? They are in effect almost an entirely new kettle of fish altogether, and something I would sincerely recommend you give due care and thought and attention towards purchasing, because it's blown my mind, that much is for sure. And of course it comes with the 2020 championship season. Of course, not all the tracks that we used in this pandemic affected year are included. Reason for that is Kunos are in Italy, and getting to places like Manicourt in France with the travel restrictions because of the health situation is just basically being impossible. They were looking at Imola is relatively local to them, so they could pull off a scan for this place, so that's really good. So not the full 2020 racing season, but enough to give us a very nice feeling indeed. Thank you very much. In terms of the 1.6 build as well, this comes now. Stefano Casilio, who was a founder member alongside Marco Massaruto at Kunos, left about 12 months or so ago now, maybe a little bit more, but he was brought back in a consultancy basis to do a little bit of work on the AI of ACC, and that work has really borne fruit. So the AI fights harder, more intelligently than it's done before. The field spread is more realistic on the grid as well. Like this now, he's attacking me into T1. I'm going to let him. He's got along my side, me, but I've just managed to skate around the outside. The AI make more mistakes than they did do previously. It's a lot less of a robotic train of cars than has been in the past. So those AI improvements are really nice and welcomed. I've not tried them in the GT4 cars yet, although I adore the GT4 cars, so I will no doubt be giving that a go at some stage in the near future. But all the driving I've done in ACC, the couple of days that we've had this build prior to public release, or 4 days that we've had the build prior to public release, has been a marked improvement. There's been an update out while we've had the content with some further AI revisions, and they are, again, just improving it that little bit more each and every time. I'm sure more will probably come at some point in the future, but what they've done so far is a big step up compared to what 5.9.9 was before it. Really now a very enjoyable offline driving experience. So to pretty much summarise, I'm greatly impressed with this new DLC and this new 1.6 update. They've done a fantastic job, have Kunos Simulazione, and I absolutely love it. And now, stepping up a gear, we're driving the brand spanking new Ferrari 488 Gt3 Evo, which is yet another new piece of content in ACC. We've switched things up from Imola to go to the Nürburgring, and we've thrown some early morning conditions into the mix as well. So much like anybody that is familiar with the original Ferrari 488 GT3 in AC, this car is another very well balanced race car indeed. A lot sharper on the nose than the AMG Mercedes that we've just been driving, is a little bit stiffer on the rear as well. Still got a bit of understeer. We're running the default aggressive setup, so I've not made any setup changes because that is very much works of magic that I know nothing about, as we're seeing one of the Mercedes trying to throw its nose up the inside into the chicane, which again is all part of that Kunos magic of the AI tweaks that have taken place. I do love nighttime conditions in ACC. We'll go defensive just to not give him any ideas about throwing his nose up. I do think the Ferrari has a shade more understeer in the default aggressive settings than the original Ferrari, the older model that came in ACC enjoyed. So it's a little bit less sharp on the nose of the other car, but conversely it sticks to the tarmac a little bit better than the other Ferrari did before it. It is the default aggressive setup, so all these characteristics of course can be changed by tweaking the setup yourself as well. And it does look quite similar inside the cockpit as the original Ferrari did as well. Not that you can see that particularly because I'm racing at night time and it's quite dark, which on reflection maybe wasn't the best call, but visual difference from the last video is key on this occasion. The modelling, as always, by a Kunos product is just absolutely beautiful, and I can only begin to imagine how gorgeous this looks in virtual reality when you get an opportunity to have a look around the car and pick out some of the fine details. I've not got my VR headset plugged in at the moment, but if ever there was a game that may encourage me to get that back out again, this would be the one. Now, this is the 2020 Ferrari, so again, this uses the DHE Pirelli tyre model and has so much more communication on the wheel than the previous version of the simulation did. It just feels just like the Merc. Very different handling than the Merc, of course, it's nothing like it, but just like the impressions, like the positive impressions I got from that car, just feels absolutely beautiful, really enjoyable to drive. I've not spent much time in this Ferrari. He says as he spins the car through the gravel, not spent much time in this Ferrari. It has to be said because just naturally speaking, it's not a car I'm particularly comfortable in. Mucky tyres, let's go around the outside, keep the car straight and narrow if we can. So it is still a bit of a new experience, and during the build process that we've had, the early access that we've had access to, myself and some fellow sim racing YouTubers, this car has gone through a couple of update revisions as well, so timing wise, in terms of being able to get this video made, I've not really had the opportunity to drive this one really prior to recording this video. Couldn't possibly tell from the way I'm driving it, could you? But again, it's very reminiscent of Ferrari, and what I love about ACC and I suppose the GT3 regulations in general, the cars are all so very different to drive. I mean, I don't understand the argument some people have about wanting more than just GT3 and GT4 in Assetto Corsa Competizione, because the cars are all so wildly different and there's so many of them that you've got a really, really rich number of content to get your teeth sunk into, and like you could tell from Imola, I'd done some practice on that one, so my driving was far superior to what it is, which is basically going in blind into this race in the Ferrari at the Nürburgring. And to master, I'm not saying I've mastered the car, not by any stretch of the imagination, but to master each car takes such an inordinate amount of time, patience, practice and dedication that with the quantity of content in ACC at this moment in time, you've got a lifetime's worth of pleasure even if they never release another car again. So that argument doesn't hold water with me particularly. One thing I will notice I've just picked up about this Ferrari from these laps, off throttle you can really unstable the car, you can really rotate it when you come away from the loud pedal. We saw that in the spin at the Schumacher S that I did on the last lap, just lifted the throttle a little bit in anticipation of stabilising the car, and in effect it actually unsettled it and pitched it off into a spin. So that's something I don't experience in the Mercedes. The Mercedes feels the weight at the front of the car, it feels a more compliant car, where this Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo 2020 is very much more up on its tiptoes, very much a more aggressive car. The front end's a little bit understeered, the rear end's always interested in trying to find a way past the front, and it's not a kind of car that you can really generously coast in. You've got to be giving it some kind of input, which is a different driving experience that I'm still trying to work my way around, as we're looking to be overtaken by the Mercedes behind. So we'll go defensive in here, try and carry the speed into the second part, stay defensive, brake nice and early, keep the car to the curb, give him no room to pass. But look at the AI, look at how aggressively he's trying to find a way past. I'm running 100% AI difficulty and 65% aggression, I believe, if memory serves me correct with these settings. And it's giving me a very nice race indeed. If you overtake somebody, you can expect them to challenge you back. I'm conscious now of what's going to happen in that chicane, so I mitigated for it in my car placement. But with the AI, it's a much more feisty race that you have against them, and that is all the better for it, especially for us offline players that don't go online so often. But of course, online is very much where Assetto Corsa Competizione shines, so I'll take that opportunity to cordially invite you all to the simracing.gp beta program at the moment, where we've got an online multiplayer platform. Many communities have joined that one already, so very big name communities, very active place to go and find racers in Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione. So please do go and join there, build up your driver statistics and your safety rating, and have yourself a jolly old time. So I brake a little bit late into T1. That opens the door again to that Mercedes, so really fighting hard, and the AI improvements are very, very good. I mean, I was probably one of the lucky ones, and then I was quite satisfied with the AI as it was in previous builds of the sim, but I can see now much more improvement towards the way the computer fights against the driver. So good job there, Stefano and crew. Couple that with the richness of the new content and the most incredible, I have to say, new DHE tyre model and the force feedback improvements that has brought to the sim. And yeah man, I think we're looking at a contender for the finest of fine when it comes to sim racing experiences. Really, really good. A lot of my fellow colleagues at RD are big fans of ACC, and of course we work under a non-disclosure agreement at RaceDepartment, so I can tell them that I've got this content, and I've basically used many different emojis and big words, small words and swear words to describe how deeply happy I am with this build. It's just, yeah, if you think you know ACC, drive 1.6 in the new cars and you'll be introduced to an entirely different but altogether better animal indeed. It's just, yeah, it's just spectacular, folks. Absolutely a masterclass from Kunos Simulazione, as eventually I fluff my exit so that Mercedes gets his opportunity on the final lap coming into T1. In fact, he's taking a friend with him as well, so two for the price of one there on this poor hobbled Ferrari. See if we can try and get a bit of switchback as these two fight each other. We'll go wide to cut tight. No, we don't, because the outside Mercedes blocked that option, and that's opened the door again, so I'm getting mugged. Absolute mugged. I'm turning into Lance Stroll. Getting mugged on this lap, so we've got the inside to be a little bit careful. Not much grip on offer at the moment, and oh dear, 3 Mercedes in one move. Not good from me, but it's the last lap and we're not really bothered about the result. We're just having a chitter chatter to our friends on the Tinterweb about all things virtual motorsport. So I think you can pretty much surmise from these two races that I'm impressed. Yep, I am impressed a great deal. This is one of, if not the best update kudos are brought out for ACC, in my opinion. I honestly, hand on heart, thought ACC was nigh on perfect anyway, and they've just got that goalpost and shifted it even further afield. Just class, absolute class update from a class development team. Really top draw material is this, and I'm I am more than happy with how good this new DLC is. So I'm going to disappear and shut up now, finish the last bit of this lap. We'll go to some final thoughts, and yeah, ACC 1.6 everybody, it's good. So there you have it, folks. That has been 1.6 build update for Assetto Corsa Competizione. A great improvement to the sim. The cars are wonderful. Imola is just one of the finest places to go racing, in my personal opinion. And with the Kunos Simulazione treatment applied to it, yep, they've done it justice. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.